Hey everybody, and welcome to today's session on utilizing OLFA resources to create content that converts. Before I get started, just a big shout out and a thank you to Yvonne and her team at OLFA for giving me the opportunity to teach to you today. As she said, I'm Leanne Presley, and I always like to start off doing a little bit of an intro so that you all know Yvonne didn't just kind of pull me off the street and throw me in front of you today to teach. So I am Leanne Presley, and I'm the CEO of Stichcraft Marketing. We are a niche agency that started about 13 years ago, and we specialize in servicing just fiber and fabric companies. I am also a small business development center consultant here in my home state of Colorado, and I've been doing that since December of 2019. I love having the privilege of working with small entrepreneurs to help them grow their businesses. And I also like to add, I am like one of your customers. I love to quilt, I sew, I knit, I spin. I just started getting into collage. So I feel like I have a unique perspective because I can see not only that 30-foot view of what's going on in the industry, and I can see what's working on the vendor side or the B2B side, but I also can give my clients the perspective from the consumer side of things. And so hopefully that'll be helpful for you today as we kind of go through the presentation. So let's start off with just a little bit about OLFA. I assume most of you on the call today are OLFA vendors or retailers, but I just wanted to throw this in here to tell you a little bit about OLFA. Of course, OLFA's been around for more than 65 years, and they are the brand behind countless creations for imaginative crafters all over the world. Out of 18 rotary cutter brands, OLFA is rated #1. And out of 32 matte brands, OLFA was rated #1. So again, I know if you guys are selling OLFA products, you'll already know what an amazing company and a brand this is. And you probably get that kind of feedback from your customers all the time. Also, just want to point out some of the socials here. You can find OLFA content and information about the brand at all of these social channels. And I hope you will take the opportunity to follow them next time you're on some of your most favorite social channels. Okay, so let's go over what you'll learn today in the session. We'll probably go for about 45-50 minutes. And I'm going to cover these bullet points here. Most importantly, we're going to go over what marketing content OLFA has for you. A plethora of different places that you can go to utilize content for your marketing purposes. I'm going to go over kind of a fundamental concept that I teach in almost all my presentations called the Know, Like, and Trust funnel. We're going to talk about best practices for content that converts. And then we're going to jump in and do kind of a mini mock marketing exercise where I'm going to show you how to do a newsletter block, a blog post, and an Instagram post, with the most important part of that exercise being I'm going to show you exactly where to go in the OLFA resources, the website, the toolbox, all the places, so that you don't struggle at all next time you want to put together a marketing piece and you know exactly where to go to download those resources. And then lastly, I'll throw in some efficiency tips and tricks, things that I think will just help you make your marketing life a little bit easier. Like I said, we're going to go for about 45-50 minutes. It is a 60-minute session in total. I know that you're probably going to have questions as we go along. This is a pre-recorded webinar, and I will be in the chat during the live webinar. So if you do have questions, just go ahead and use the chat utility, type your questions in there, and I will be on hand to answer those for you. And then at the end, after the webinar is over, I'll jump on to the Zoom call. And if people have other additional questions, we can take care of those then. And if you are signed up through the registration, Yvonne will send you a copy of the recording in full. So if you want to go back over it at your leisure at any time, you will definitely have that opportunity. So first, I just want to start with a quick overview of some of the OLFA resources. The first place that you can go, of course, is olfa.com, which is the website. Tons of information there about products as well as images. You can also go to product pages, which you can see the URL here. olfa.com/collections/craft. And this is just an example of some of the things you'll be able to see on those pages. tons of details, information, great professionally shot photographs. I think you'll find a lot of what you're looking for just in those two areas. But we also have the distributor toolbox. And during this presentation, I'm going to show you a couple of different steps of how to get into the toolbox and exactly how to navigate through that toolbox so that it becomes a really easy to use tool for you. But you can see here it's the OLFA Craft Retailer / Distributor Toolbox. You might hear it referred to as both of those. And if you forget the link, you can just access the distributor toolbox in the footer of olfa.com. So you never should need to worry about where to access that. And the first time that you're logging into the toolbox, you will need to request access. It's a super simple, easy step. And then once that's granted and you go to that website, you will automatically be logged in. And make sure also that you're listing your shop name there as well. All right. A couple more places. Number 4 is going to be the craft blog. That's olfa.com /blogs/craft. That I'm going to walk you through what kind of resources you're going to find at the blog later on in the presentation. And then lastly, number 5, the OLFA Craft Catalog. And that can be located again at the URL olfa.com /pages/craft-catalog. So I first want to start out just taking a couple minutes teaching a fundamental concept that I include in most all of my presentations, and that is the know, like, and trust funnel. And basically the concept is for you to understand the customer journey so that when you're planning your marketing strategy, you are thinking about each stage of the know, like, and trust funnel and developing content appropriately for each phase that your customer is going through on their journey. I often say people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So let me just walk you through each of these stages really quickly. And as we go through the rest of the presentation, I'm hoping that it'll connect the dots and you'll think back to these slides and think, oh yes, this is content that I need to create for my About Us page or for my newsletter. So in the first phase of the know, like, and trust funnel, your customers are asking simple questions. Who are you? And I think if you all put on your consumer hat for a minute, you will know that you've had this experience as well. I often use the example of a customer maybe buying a brand new sewing machine. And this is a big ticket item, and they're probably going to spend a lot of time researching not only the brand of machine that they're going to be purchasing, but who they're going to be buying that from. And if they're not as familiar with you as a sewing machine dealer, they're going to be in this part of the funnel where they are learning more about who you are as a brand and a business, why you're in business, what your mission statements are, who your employees are, etc. And from there, they're going to move into the middle part of this funnel, which we call the like phase. And they're looking for what I refer to as affinity markers. They're looking for reasons that they're going to choose your shop over the one, say, 30 minutes or an hour away that also might carry a sewing machine brand that they're thinking about buying. And so your job as a marketer is to provide those touch points for your customer so that they can like you. You want to share, for example, on your About Us page, the story of why you started your business, or what are the things that you do differently than the store an hour away that would incentivize that consumer to buy from you. And then we're hoping that our customers move into and stay in the trust part of our funnel. And they're asking questions like, have you solved others' problems that are similar to mine? And that quote unquote problem might just be to provide the best sewing machine purchase experience that they can have. So they're going to be looking for testimonials, for feedback from friends and family and other people that they might interact with in the social sphere. And so your job, again, as a marketer, is to try to provide those trust markers for your consumer. So you might want to put forth the fact that you have extremely great customer service, or you do a great job with maintaining the machine once your customer has purchased it. Those are the kinds of things that I want you to be thinking about when we're developing the content. And as I walk you through the rest of the presentation and I'm making suggestions about the kind of content that you should be pulling from the OLFA website, I think it'll all come together for you nicely. So we are going to practice together, and we're going to be creating content for a newsletter, just one little block. And we're going to do a blog post, and I'm going to show you how I would make a social post. We're going to focus on Instagram, and we're going to be using the Chenille fruit hot pads to plan content for this made-up fictional class that we have. So first I want to take a look at some best practices for developing our content. So a couple of things I want to review here quickly. I don't want us to just kind of jump in and start throwing some marketing pieces together. I want to teach you along the way what I think about when I am crafting some of these marketing materials. The first thing is going to be adding relevant keywords. Those are super important when you're writing any kind of content for your website, for your blog, or even descriptions in your shopping carts. Of course, we always want to have a call to action, otherwise referred to as a CTA. We want to be consistent in our branding, so you want to be using the same logos, the same fonts, the same colors, kind of the same imagery throughout what you're creating so that your consumers recognize that it's your shop and it's your brand, and they know if they recognize those things, they've already got that trust, hopefully, in place. And immediately they are in a more comfortable position to buy from you. And we'll talk a little bit about hashtags as well and how to utilize those. So the first one is adding keywords. Of course, when writing content for your blog or your website, the words that you're using become important markers for search engines. We know that Google, for example, will trawl or spider your pages to index relevant content for searches. So it's important that we're delivering up to Google exactly the keywords that your consumers are using to find the products that are on your website. We know search engines are designed to deliver that most relevant content, and keywords is one of the most important tools that they use in the algorithmic calculations. So of course, optimizing your website and your online content with those relevant keywords will raise your ranking in search engine queries. And then the right keywords are going to increase your website traffic by including your website in the most relevant searches. It's going to bolster your ability to achieve what we call domain authority. And of course, that's the name of the game, right? We all want more eyeballs on our websites so we can drive them to our shopping carts and sell them more products. So I'm not going to go too far into keywords in this presentation. I do want to refer you to another presentation that I'm doing for OLFA on Wednesday, November 2nd at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to go a little bit deeper into writing more engaging content and utilizing best practices for SEO. And in that presentation, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into how to create a validated keyword list and some other best practices for utilizing keywords in your writing. So there's a couple of elements to a great post, and I want you to keep these in mind as you're creating content for your marketing program. So of course, we want to have media, whether it's a photo, a video, or a link to external content. I want you to think about leveling up beyond just text posting. We know that the algorithms really favor more dynamic, engaging content, and so I think it should be every marketer's goal to write great posts that meet that need, that are interactive and dynamic. So your descriptions should be thoughtful with every post and including those relevant keywords. And of course, I want you to have a link or a CTA, a call to action. What do you want your consumer to do with your post? And after you write every piece of content, ask yourself those couple of things. Do I have great media? Do I have an awesome description? And have I told my viewer, my reader, my consumer exactly what I want them to do after reading this? So this is an example of a client that we work with who has all the elements in this social post. So the first one is a clear description. The next one is they've got a call to action. The last sentence says, link to register in our profile. They also are using their branded hashtags. They've got a couple at the top for their business, which is hashtag Thimbles Quilts. And then they've added a couple of other ones in there that are relevant to this particular post, such as sewing fabric, quilting fabric, etc. And then I'm giving them some bonus points on the board for a watermark image. And you can see right here is what their watermark image is. And I'll show you in Canva how to drop and drag images. And it's just a matter of having your logo uploaded to Canva and then dragging it to whatever graphics that you've created. Super, super easy. Next, I want you to be thinking about your media files. One of my pet peeves is coming across social channels where your images are cut off. You know, when we were talking earlier about the know, like, and trust funnel, this is something to think about. When your images are not rendering properly, your customers are maybe subconsciously or consciously making a judgment about the kind of professional business that you are. And I would argue that having perfectly aligned media files is going to raise your trust relationship with your consumers. They're going to trust you more because they see that you are a professional business. So Instagram should be square images. 1080 by 1080 pixels is ideal for that channel. Facebook, 1500 by 1200 pixels. In video for Instagram, you want to make sure you're shooting that in portrait mode because we want to make sure we're using the entire screen. And then video for Facebook can be either landscape or portrait mode, and just keep in mind the ratio of 16:9 or 9:16. Now, one of the things I love about Canva is it has a handy dandy drop-down feature where you can start with a graphic in Instagram, and if you'd like to replicate that for any of the other social channels, you just choose that new platform in the drop-down, and it automatically resizes your images for you, so you don't have to worry about it. I do have the images outlined in the handout that you'll be getting for this class, and so you can use that for easy reference as well. So what should you be sharing on your social channels? Well, our best practices tell us that we want to be generous with our posts. We refer to this kind of content as give content. It should be educational, inspirational, and something that helps solve the problem of your consumers versus what I see a lot of times, which I would refer to as promotional posting, which is buy my stuff or take advantage of my sale or here's my coupon. You kind of want to stay away from that predominantly. I advise people think about it in terms of a ratio of about 8:1. So you want 8 posts that are generous in nature to the 1 post that actually asks for something from your consumer. You might also consider adding regular features like Tip Tuesday, Maker Monday. I have one client that does a series called Under the Needle, and she's a long arm quilter, which is very successful for her. You want to also create branded graphics that help develop a consistent look and feel for your brand. I like to kind of joke that if you were to see my daughter browsing Instagram, you would know that you only have, 1, maybe 2 seconds to catch her attention. And so branded graphics like these for our business really help to grab her attention and tell her brain that while she's scrolling, this is the moment to stop and to consume the content from a brand that she really likes. So our branding is always this particular color palette. We always format our blog posts for social in exactly the same way. We always put our watermark in the same place. The proportions are always the same size. And again, that just really helps your consumer recognize when it's content that's coming from your business or your brand. You immediately recognize it when you see it. Also, best practices for using hashtags. You want to make sure that you're capitalizing the first letter of each word. That helps with readability. Hashtags should be short and sweet, really easy to spell. Of course, you want to make sure they're relevant to your brand and your audience and the products that you happen to be promoting in whatever it is you're using the hashtag for. I always recommend that you check a new hashtag before using it to make sure that you understand the content. I would say there's been several occasions when a client has used a hashtag that they thought meant one thing and then discovered the hard way that other people were using that hashtag in a completely inappropriate way. So do check those first. You also want to explore some trending hashtags. Sometimes you'll see content makers borrow a popular hashtag. That happens a lot on TikTok, for example, because they're just trying to increase eyeballs on that. They're increasing their brand visibility by borrowing other popular hashtags. We don't necessarily do that. We kind of stick with what the product is and what is consistent for our brand and our clients. Also, make sure you don't overuse hashtags. We always aim for somewhere between 8 and 12 in any given post. I think anything more than that becomes kind of useless. People won't look those up or even utilize them. And then you'll want to create unique hashtags for specific projects or events. And that just incentivizes your audience to use it and does help to create a little bit more brand engagement for your company. If you are using hashtags for anything related to OLFA, these are the hashtags that you want to use. And I recommend all caps when you're spelling out OLFA, as you see here. I mentioned earlier that Canva is a tool that we use a lot. It's wonderful for creating branded content without having a lot of experience as a graphic designer. We use Canva to create tons of stuff. It's perfect for social media posts. You can create print ads, graphics, logos. You can even do video content. I've got some clients that are doing static images on Canva, but then converting them to the video component to bump themselves up in the algorithm. Because like I mentioned earlier, we know that dynamic moving content has more value to the algorithm. So anytime that you can turn a static image into a dynamic image, that's going to be better for your algorithmic purposes. You can also create headers and images for email marketing. The other wonderful thing about Canva that I tell all my clients is you can upload branded content to create your content faster. So you can upload your brand's color palette, your logos, and your fonts, just so that every time you go into Canva, it's already available for you. This you can see on the left here. Right here is a little brand section of Canva. So what we like to do is upload those for all of our clients. And when we're working with a brand like OLFA, for example, you can see how super easy it is to just go in and upload all of the logos, all of the colors, and the branded fonts that are used by that brand. And it makes it super easy for you to select those when you go in to create something new. You don't have to go back and chase all those down. So take a look at that brand guidelines section of Canva to make your content creation a lot easier. So now we're going to jump over and start working on our mini marketing project for the Chenille hot pads. I'm going to show you how to do a newsletter block using MailChimp. Now keep in mind your email platform might be something different, but all of these steps are going to apply no matter what type of service you are using. We're going to do a social post on Instagram and a blog post. So the first thing I want to do is create some content for the newsletter block, and I'm going to show you two different ways to do that. We're going to jump over to the website and just do a right-click grab of an image. And then I'm also going to show you the toolbox, another repository where you can download images for all of your marketing needs. So the first thing we're going to do is go to this URL, which keep in mind, this is on your handout. And once you arrive there, this is what the home screen is going to look like. So let's just go ahead and do that now. Now remember, I told you that the first time you're using the toolbox, you're going to have to register for access. So if you jump down here, we're going to be working with the craft toolbox. And you do see this link that says register for access. Now I'm already registered, so I'm going to click on this link below. And since I'm already configured, it jumps me right into the toolbox. Now here you can scroll down and see all the different categories, rulers and specialty, cutting mats, art knives, etc. And we are interested in the chenille cutters, which are in the rulers and specialty section. So I'm going to click on that right here. And I want you to notice this left-hand side of library items. These are a series of folders, hierarchically organized. And you'll see right now, here we are in specialty. And then these are the different subcategories of that specialty. So we're going to be in this section here, the chenille cutter. So what you can do is scroll down and see what types of images are of interest to you. And when you find ones that you want to use for your newsletter, you can mouse over for more navigation items. And I want to show you a couple of different things. The most important is going to be this radio button. And you'll see a check mark in there indicating this is one of the images that I'm going to be downloading in my collection. If you scroll down further, I'm going to see this other image that I like, which is just of the tool. And then when I decide on the images that I've chosen, 2 or 3, you're going to go over to this download button up in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to click download. Now this is going to generate what's called a zip file. And if you're not familiar with zip, it's just like a suitcase of images. And you can name that folder here. I'm going to call it November newsletter. I'm going to keep original files here. And now what it does is it jumps back over to my PC and drops the zip right down here in this lower left-hand corner. And then what I like to do is just squeak my window over a little bit, and I drag that file to my desktop, which you can see right here, November newsletter. Now, if I wanted to just work with those files immediately, I would double click on that zip folder, which comes to an extractor, which is already configured in my PC. It's going to look a little bit different if you're working on Mac, but the function is all the same. So here I do see the 2 images that I downloaded. And I am going to actually extract all of them, which is a button right here at the top. And I'm going to browse for the folder that I've already created on my desktop for my OLFA graphics. And I would encourage you to just find a place on your desktop that makes that convenient for you. And I'm going to extract those. So now they're in that folder. You can see right here and right here, along with some other images that I have for my OLFA projects. So here you can see I've dragged my MailChimp template into the screen so you can see what that layout would look like. And I'm going to drop my image right here. You can drag and drop it directly from your desktop. I'm going to browse for that image. Now I've already uploaded that to MailChimp. My internet was a little slow today, so I didn't want to take up time having you watch those upload. But I do want to show you the process, and this is what it would look like. Of course, for a newsletter, you're going to configure all the other elements here, or you might have a different image. If you're doing a class, you're going to, of course, include the description and the time and all that other information. But I just wanted to take you from start to finish to show you how to grab that image and then bring it over into MailChimp. Coming back over to the toolbox, I do want to show you a couple of other features. Remember, we selected the radio buttons if we wanted multiple images. If you come in here and decide that you just want one image, you can just mouse over that image and up will pop some of these other navigation items at the lower left-hand corner of the image. Right here is a download button, and if you click on that, it will just download that one image to the same place that I showed you earlier in the lower left-hand corner of your browser. The other thing I wanted to show you is this heart, which is a really great method to add multiple images to what's called a collection. And you can see I've already started a collection for my November newsletter. And if I wanted to add that photo to that collection, now it's going to be in there. Let me show you that really quickly. Down at the bottom left-hand side, you'll see My Collections. And if you click on the folders that you've created, you'll see some of the images I've already captured. And I love this because it's a wonderful way to be efficient with your time in here in the toolbox. And I'd recommend you just gather multiple images all at once for whatever projects you have. If, for example, you wanted to create a new collection, it'll give you that option right when you choose that image. So I'm choosing the heart. I don't want it in this folder. I want to do a brand new collection, which for the purposes of this, I'll just call test. And now I've got several folders. One is test and one is the original newsletter that I have. So take advantage of that feature in the toolbox as well. Now I told you I was going to show you how to capture images right from the website. And that's easy to do. So I'm going to just type in olfa.com. So if you were to jump into Craft, you can either use this navigation down here or the one at the top. I'm going to go to Products. And then again, I know my chenille cutters are in the specialty area. And that will bring you right here to a page showing you multiple products. Now I want this tool here in particular. So all I do is mouse over and just right click, and you can save image as, or you can even just copy the image if you want to do a really quick image in Canva, for example. All you would need to do is copy that image. But let's say we want to save it for later. We will save that on our desktop. We know we've got our OLFA graphics folder. You can rename this file if you want to, and then just click save. And now that file is in the same folder. So a couple of really easy ways for you to capture images using the website or the toolbox. The next exercise that we're going to do is capture a video and embed that into a blog post. So I'm going to start by going back to the website, olfa.com. And just like I showed you before, I'm going to navigate over to the chenille cutter. I'm going to use Craft, Products. I'm going down to Specialty. And that brings me to the chenille cutter. I'm going to click on that, which brings me to the product page. At the bottom of the product page here, you'll see some other assets. And the one that I want is this video. I'm going to turn it off quickly for you there. Once I have the video, I'm going to go to the upper right-hand side where it says Share. And I'm going to copy the link. Now, once I have that link, I'm going to create a new window and type that in. And what I'm doing is bringing you over to YouTube. And once I'm on YouTube, I'm going to have some other tools available to me that allows me to embed. And there's another share button right down here. Clicking on that one, and you'll see this first option says embed. We're going to click on that. Now what you're seeing here is the video, and on the right-hand side, the HTML code that I need to bring over to my WordPress blog platform. So I'm copying that. First I highlight it and then I click copy. Now that's on my clipboard. You can see right here. So then all you need to do is go over to your WordPress, and I've got that already opened up here. I'm going to go to text. Visual will be a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. We don't want that. We want text. And I'm going to just right click, paste that HTML code right here. And I wanted to show you the preview so you can see kind of what it will look like for your subscribers. So this is just kind of the template of my blog. Obviously, you're going to include other content around the video, a little introduction block, and you're going to configure all the other aspects of your blog. But here again, I just wanted to show you the steps to grab a video and then bring it over to your WordPress. Now going back over to YouTube, this is on the YouTube platform. I want to point out the other place you can seek out videos. If I just bump right down here to OLFA North America Inc., which is the channel for OLFA, you will then see tons of other videos that you can utilize using the same process that I just demonstrated. So the last exercise I want to walk you through is for a social post on Instagram. And a lot of what I've demonstrated in the presentation thus far is going to apply here. Our goal is to grab some fantastic images from the toolbox and bring them over to Canva. Now, we love Canva at Stichcraft Marketing. We use it for almost everything we design. And one of the things I love about Canva is they have a lot of great free templates that are already pre-formatted for social platforms. So if you were to open your Canva account and go to the top left-hand corner, you'll see templates. And all of these are examples of Instagram templates that are already pre-formatted. So you can just drop and drag one of those and start designing your graphics. Here's one that we mocked up for this exercise, showing the graphics we grabbed from the toolbox. We added in all of the fonts and colors and logos that we already had uploaded previously into our brand toolbox. And that makes it super easy to pull something together for your mock chenille fruit hot pad class. The next thing I want to show you is where you can go to the OLFA Craft catalog to grab cool images like this one, which is an infographic showing which mat is right for your project. So again, on the handout, you'll see the URL to get you over to the Craft catalog. And what I love about the Craft catalog is it's kind of like a magazine or just like a printed catalog. And using the arrow down here, you can toggle forward through all the different pages of the catalog. The other nice thing I like is this grid down here below where you will see a left-hand navigation that you can slide this little bar and see all of the pages, which allows for easy browsing if you're shopping around for cool content that you can put into your next newsletter or blog or social posts. Now, the one that I wanted to demonstrate for you is on page 34, which is right here on the right-hand side. So let's say I wanted to capture that infographic and use it in my marketing materials. I would just come down here to the download pages icon in the lower right-hand side. And when I click that, it gives me the option to download the left-hand side of the catalog or the right side, or download all. And in this case, I'm just going to download the right page. And that immediately dumps that JPEG down onto my browser. And if I click that, here's exactly the graphic that I will be able to use in all of my marketing materials. So make sure you spend some time browsing through that catalog. It's very extensive, has tons of great information, and I think will be a wonderful tool for you to enhance your marketing efforts. So some of the feedback we get from our clients is that they really struggle with how to come up with original content ideas, and they don't have the time and the energy to come up with new tutorial blogs or some of that educational and generosity content that I talked about earlier in the presentation. So I want to point you to a great place to capture some of that content on the OLFA Craft blog. This is easily navigable by just going to Craft and Blog. I'm already on the page here, so I'll show you a little bit of the overview. On the left-hand side, you've got lots of categories and, of course, the content right here in the middle. And if you spend some time on here, you will just be amazed at how much content OLFA has put together for you. Projects for kids, projects for seasonal projects. You've also got a wonderful cosplay section here. One of the things clients tell us a lot is they're always struggling to try to bring in a younger audience. And cosplay is a great way to attract that younger audience. There's content for quilters, there's content for garment sewing, just tons of great information here. Now, when you get into these blogs, the best way for you to utilize them is to just click on whatever blog is of interest to you, and you'll see that brings up a page with tons of descriptive information. You've got a section here on all the tools that would be required of the tutorial project, step-by-step instructions with professionally shot, high-quality photographs. I'd say that's another big struggle of a lot of our clients, is they don't have the time or budget to spend on high-quality photos, and thankfully, OLFA has done all that for you. If you click on the specific tools, you can go deeper into your promotions. Let's go back to those product pages. Remember how I captured the Chenille tool cutter, and then down here I did the embed with the videos. So you can do the same thing with any of these products that you're going to find through the links with the craft blog. So I definitely would encourage you to spend some time every month coming into the craft blog and capturing 1 or 2 projects that you can share with your audience. I think it's going to save you a lot of time and effort. All right, next I want to go over some efficiency tips and tricks that we have. I know it's really difficult sometimes when you're wearing all the hats for you to figure out how to make time for everything. So I thought I'd just share with you some of our best practices at the agency and how we help clients to be more efficient every month. The first one is really to plan out your monthly strategy sessions. We put everything in a spreadsheet, including events for your stores, promos for classes that you have coming up, new product features, and of course, whatever promos you might have for sales and offers. We like to load it into a spreadsheet that looks very similar to this. This is actually one that we mocked up for OLFA, and you can see here in column A, we'll load up some of the different channels that we're posting to. We might include different themes, like I mentioned earlier, like a Monday quilt along, or a tip Tuesday, or a word board Wednesday. And then along the right side of the matrix, you'll see we have it divided by week. And so we might post maybe 3 times or 5 times a week on some of the socials, and we'll just type in what we're going to be talking about on the socials for that particular month. So right here, for example, you might see March 4th, we're doing OLFA tips post. March 19th, we're doing messaging infographics. We might have user-generated content, and so on for the whole month. So that's one tip that we highly recommend, where you just sit down and plan out all of the different products and offerings that you're going to have for your shop every month. The next tip I have for you is to download large batches of photos all at once. Once you've logged into the toolbox and you've got an idea of the different types of projects that you want to feature, because you've already outlined that in your strategy plan, you can go to those sections and just download by selecting the circle icons right here. And once you've selected all the items you want to download, then right over here you just hit download, which is in this upper corner, and it will go right into your desktop or the folder that you've designated for your projects. I like to keep a system of my assets all organized. This will make it a lot easier when you are accessing the toolbox, and by downloading those large batches of images, I think it's going to make it super easy for you to find those. Right here you see we have OLFA video tutorials, OLFA crafts, OLFA tools. We've created separate different folders to try to keep everything in one place, so you're not having to search all over your hard drive at several times, different times in the month. You know, if you're doing your Instagram posts or your newsletter, you want to be able to go to the same place and capture the images that you've downloaded from that simple folder. Another trick we use a lot is batching content. We will take and process photos all in one batch at one time. So let's say you are working on your own store images that might feature OLFA mats or OLFA cutters. You can combine that with other items in your store. Let's say for a flat lay shot, and just create a pre-setup on your photos. I even have clients that will have a pre-setup in a closet, for example, and they've got their stage in there and they've got their lighting all set up and they've got a turntable, and all they do is open the closet and put their products in, take all their photos, and then they've got those ready to go in a folder for all their marketing needs for the rest of the month. We also like to batch content when it comes to writing your posts. So many of the channels have pre-schedulers. So if you do 1 or 2 hours of writing social content posts, you can upload those all in one sitting and just schedule them throughout the month so that you're not having to sit down several times a week to hit your social channels. And we also recommend you keep your keyword list and your hashtag list handy. Like I said, there are plenty of tools available to pre-schedule your posts. Here are just a few of them. Sprout Social is very popular. Hootsuite. All of Instagram and Facebook posts can be pre-scheduled in the back end of the business suite, the Meta Planner. And you can see a really nice calendar that outlines where you might have gaps in your social program. So I highly recommend that you use a pre-scheduling and or a batching method to save yourself a lot of time and hassle in trying to manage your marketing program. We get a lot of questions about how to better manage social media. And so we do have a blog post about that, managing your social media marketing in 45 minutes a day, which goes a little bit deeper in depth to our best tips and tricks and best practices for how to accomplish that. You got a quick QR code here. If you want to shoot that with your phone, it'll take you directly to that post. Or you can go to our website at stichcraftmarketing.com/blog and type this title into the search bar, and that article will come up for you. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, I do have a handout for you that summarizes all the links that I utilized in the presentation and where to find content in the deck and going forward in your efforts to create wonderful marketing materials using the OLFA toolbox and all the resources that are available to you. Lastly, I just want to mention a little more about the agency. We are only for fiber and fabric companies. We specialize in strategy and execution of social media, and we also are a full service agency. So we can help you with website design and maintenance issues. We also do lots of branding, graphics, logos, digital ads. And right now we do have openings for consulting. And if you are interested in other services, please feel free to reach out and get in touch with me. We do have a contact form at stichcraftmarketing.com, and I think it's readily available for you to find if you do want to reach out. So that's everything that I have today. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And again, thanks again to Yvonne and her team for giving me the opportunity to teach you how to access all the amazing resources available to you at OLFA. Thank you.